Okay.
Hello, Gio, and welcome to Life Connections episode number 2. So hopefully a few of you watched the first episode, and this is kind of something fairly new to me, so I apologise in advance. But I have with me a delightful lady, Gio, a friend of mine that I met via the Office Athlete. And I should say, actually, Gio is a very successful athlete, an athlete of the mind and body and soul. A wonderful person that I met only 5 weeks ago. And on our first Zoom meeting, which was a group of 30 of us, I actually wrote sort of notes about every person, a little sort of one-word description. And this is how good my insight is. I put Italian and intelligent. So I think I was correct on both. But the idea about this is to try to find out a little bit more about an intelligent Italian person. So, Gio, how did
Wow.
this happen?
Well, good morning, first
Hi.
of all. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me in this space. And second, well, now after this introduction, I hope I will be fulfilling the expectation, huh? Because you put the bar very high. I can confirm that I'm Italian.
Cool. Got one right.
Well, we have it.
Well, the intelligent one, actually, that grew on me massively because in very quickly on the course, I thought to myself, oh, these people, are they set up? Are they professional? Because obviously we've got Andy Ramage, who's like the leader of it all, and Jill, who's working, and she's like a trained coach, excellent. But then there's so many other people on the course that are just adding so much in. And you've been at the front since the very beginning, really. And we might talk to some about
So were you.
Oh,
I think that what is beautiful in this course, it was really that you can really take what you want and it can suit almost everybody, because you can be there just, for the famous 6 pillars, just, to have a better physical and healthy life. But you can dare to get a little bit more stimulated. You can open up. There were a lot of philosophy that Andy, just here and there quotes, and this is basically what I'm very interested in. And then a lot of self-knowledge. And at the end of the day, what I realized that we are 40 in this January course, and we are all different. But at the end of the day, the common denominator is that we're all trying to learn a little bit more about ourselves.
Yeah.
And the space is very, very safe, no? Because as we said several times, we speak among ourselves of things that, we wouldn't say outside. So, that's very nice.
Yeah, it became that place very, very quickly, which was nice and surprising actually, because I didn't really know what to expect. I'm quite used to social media and I'm quite confident in that place. But I'm amazed how people have opened up, and that is everyone really, Yeah.
Well, I went there because I wanted to be more effective. I mean, the fact that we connected is because our minds work quite the same, no? Me and you.
Yeah.
So in that, and that, so I would just going there, like say, cool. I mean, with this, I can achieve more and faster. And in many parts it's true, but then, it was a deeper self-discovery, whether this is really what I wanted, whether the fact that maybe I was a little bit hitting the limit in some part of my life or profession was really because I was not efficient, or maybe because this was not aligned anymore with the person I became. And so I think that's fundamental, because you can keep on learning old technique to achieve something, but if it doesn't belong to you, no technique works. That's my idea, basically.
Yeah, I wonder, like, learning's fairly new to me. Yeah, I mean, we come from very different backgrounds, I should imagine. I'm a builder, sort of left school at 16 and built things and eventually built businesses. And you have, I should imagine, have done a lot of studying. And what do you do? What is your occupation?
Yeah. But I studied a lot because I like it. Yeah. So there is not this intellectual presumption that because you study you're better than the others. I've seen many people with a PhD that are real idiots, but really, and person who didn't receive a formal education that are really intelligent, emotionally intelligent. They have an intelligence of life. So I studied a lot because I liked it. You know, somebody likes sports. I really like reading and I study. So basically, my studies were all in Italy. First, master's in political science, then I have a PhD in international relations, and that opened my career. And I kept on always working on myself. I had this passion for psychology, and I always kept it in the background. And then at a certain point, I had my midlife crisis, like almost everybody. And when I was 45, this idea of how can I find myself again, I thought I'm going to start to study psychology. The idea was that when I was 30 or something, I thought it was too late. And so when I got to 46, I told myself I don't want at the age of 80 thinking that 46 was too late.
Yeah, that's
so I went to the university again and got a bachelor and a master in psychoanalysis. And that opened up a lot of, I mean, to get this degree, you have to do many things like 400 hours of analysis on yourself. You have to work in psychiatric hospitals as an internship, and it gives you a completely different outlook on life, no?
Yes, amazing.
Also on psychiatric, mental health, everybody's, you know, a lot of prejudice. And when you enter in these places, you just find that the real sociopath or psychopath are not even 5%. The other are people bereaved or, you know, that they burned out because of work, or that they just were too, in a way, I mean, not prepared to live life and whatever life can throw at you. And so you are full of compassion, and then basically this is becoming my main interest right now.
Excellent.
You know,
And
really...
the compassion, did you manage to help? Obviously, you must have helped so many people. The reward that gave you, so.
Yeah. Well, yes, I think that one of my traits is that, you know, that I really am outgoing, very extroverted. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. But I really enjoy, you know, I enjoy, and I think you receive from everybody, even those person that at a certain point in your life hurt or whatever, misunderstanding, or left a little bit of a bitter taste in your mouth. They always gave you something. And when you reach to that point, then it's really genuine, the kind of exchange. So I hope I helped. I hope, but definitely I was also helped a lot by the others. Yeah,
I think that that's something I found, and yeah, like I said, it's not. I feel that I'm an amateur. Really, I'd love to be able to learn even a little what you've done, and but by helping others, and this is really new to me, you realise how it helps yourself. It's the greatest. If you just think, right, I want to go out here to help myself, how do you do it? The best way is to help others, because you just pick it up along the way. Really, that's what I'm finding.
Yeah, and I think that really to help others, you also have to be in a good place, you know, with yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that self-knowledge is still underrated. I mean, now it's much better than it was 10 years ago or before, but I think that there has been a period in which everything was about the mind, so the cognitive process, exactly the intelligence, the study, whatever. Then a lot is about the body, you know, how we function, how we can perform. And now we came to the conclusion, no, that there is this kind of body-mind connection, you know, the other project of Andy,
yeah,
the body-mind gene, or mind-body gene, I don't remember which. But I think that the third element is that is there. It's but not as prominent as it should be, is to know your soul. And it has been, I think, conceived always in a religious term.
Yeah.
And that maybe can put off people. But knowing yourself goes back to Socrates, whatever. And then they were telling that basically the unexamined life, a life that you don't examine, it's not worthwhile living. Of course, it was a little bit exaggerated, but there is a truth that if you don't examine what your soul wants from you, you waste a lot of time.
Exactly.
And that part of self-knowledge that I think when you know yourself better, you're in a better place to help others and to accept help. And that's where I would like to keep on working, on my self-knowledge and helping also the other to know themselves, their weaknesses, their strengths, but also, what are they meant to be in their life, no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that fulfillment, giving everyone that opportunity, and it's when you're talking about the spirituality, it is. I think if we sort of asked all 40 people, why are you here? We're all going to sort of have our different reasons, and the actual. If you said to someone, what is the secret? What is the secret? I think we're all really, really curious at this stage, and obviously we're never probably going to find that out, but the fact we're looking has got to help, isn't it? Really, it's got to, the secret of life, the secret of why we're here. Yeah, I mean, this is. I think I came into the course being alcohol free and wanted to cement that. And still not absolutely convinced it's a forever thing for me, but it's worked well so far. And Andy talks about the Arete way and talking about, and I've looked at the Camino, and I'm completely non-religious, but I'm sort of like, there's something that I want to know. And yeah, this is the journey, and meeting everyone on it is part of that journey for me. So I'm not religious at all, I don't think, but there's something.
But I think that exactly there is a big difference between religion, that are organized structure, and spirituality. And we are all spiritual in one way or the other. We all have desires, we all have emotions, we all have aspiration. We are also very capable of noble acts, and we are also capable of things that we are not proud of, no? Because we are human beings, we are a blend of both. But the idea that you aspire to be a little bit better every day, for me, that's spiritual. And the big secret, I think, is different for each of us.
Sure.
And one of the things that we connected, I think, on the course, is because you said really something really intelligent that really clicked to me about, it's the seeking. The whole thing is the seeking. And you put it so just like I was saying, wow. And you have sometimes epiphany in this course, no? I will always, with me, I will keep with me, yes, the technique we were taught and new knowledge, but some of the insight that came from other office athletes. And one was you, that you're just keeping, Joe, relax, it's in the seeking. And I would just say, oh, wow, that's that changed everything, no?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I've been. I say I'm not overconfident even in this situation, speaking and getting my words maybe correct how I'd like to. Sometimes I just could flow with words, and it is a flow, and it comes from nowhere, and but sometimes looking, I think, yeah, that's bang on, So it's been really good to be able to share some things and get them people that just the comments is nice, and it makes me want to do more, and that has been. So again, coming into the journey for me, it's like, yeah, I want to be about myself, and then, and I'm sure we're going to get onto this now about my fear of dying a little bit, and imposter syndrome, and sort of all kind of wrapped up together. It was looking, obviously you helped me massively with that, but the first one was The 5 Regrets of the Dying, which is a recommendation that Andy gave, an amazing book by Bronnie Ware, and that made me straight away realise that giving back and seeing the regrets these people have had of dying, and I think the key one is we spend too much time worrying about it rather than the living, really. And that has been, I looked around everywhere and I'm thinking, right, everyone in the group is saying exactly what I think, and I wanted to sort of shake a few and say, look, listen, we want this end goal, but let's live it now. Let's do this. Let's sort of get away with all these worries, because I've got them, you've got them, we've all got them. And I think a lot of us have probably developed even more seeing the vulnerabilities in others. And, you know, hopefully that's, you know, like, so the connection, we both shared, oh, that's exactly how I feel, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think that as human being, we have some basic pattern that belongs to everybody, but that socially is not acceptable to admit, because you think that if you admit it, the other think you're weak. But I mean, I can guarantee to you that everybody is afraid of death. And sometimes we do, and we keep on doing, and whatever, as a kind of to, you know, just not to think about it, but also to open this kind of immortality, no? That something will be left of us when we will not be here anymore. And that's the only sure thing, that one day we will not be anymore, not in this form, okay? And I think that also this self-knowledge and soul, it helped me with this fear of death, like everybody else, in the sense that if you concentrate only in your body, you know, and your mind, you can even see the decline in the age. It's there, no? I cannot do what I used to do when I was 20, you know. So and that's it. So if I focus on that, but if I think of my soul and my spirit, definitely that is not declining. On the contrary, that is stronger, is clearer, is understanding more. And I mean, what is called wisdom, and it comes with experience of life. And that for me is and you know, when you were talking, I don't know who said it, but that the, you know, there is a say that there is life is what is happening to you while you are planning it. No, so it's good that you plan, because you have a sense of direction and the purpose and the meaning, and we need that. But at the same time, it's now. So I think in life, it's all about a balance, how you can balance the two, you know, to be present, to care about your family and your friends, to live meaningfully without losing sight of what you want to become, because having ambitious is okay.
Sure.
It's what do you do with the two things? You know, how do you balance the two? That for me is something that you have fine-tuned every day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's life is. I mean, as we grow older, we realise how precious it is, and I think that's been my calling, that I need to maximise it all the time. And the learning, I'm loving it. You know, it's like, it has been a tough 6 weeks. We've all had sort of dips and stuff, and I think really, you know, possibly a lot of people said, "Oh yeah, he's got, you know, he's full on. He's doing lives, and he's got loads of energy, and I wish I could keep up." And you know, I've had moments of absolutely just so tired, and almost like, oh, I'm an office athlete. I've got to do, you know, but you come back stronger each week. You know, you need to, the relaxation thing. I mean, we spoke about having 3, 4, 5 things on at one time. And I get this when I don't have lots going on. I'm like, what do I do now? And then I feel then that's when the bad habits could creep in, because you've opened up like this void, a vacuum, you know, and it's the worst thing you need, really. So and then you fear that, don't you?
This is a big concept, you know, in psychology, which is the fear of the void.
Yeah.
That's why certain people talk too much. That's why certain people get in habits which are unhealthy, and that's why, you know, you are afraid of death, because you perceive it as void. No. Okay. So, and again, I think this is normal. The point is, with what you fill that void can make a huge difference in your life. Yeah. Because if you fill it with addiction, you're going the wrong way, because you become a slave. If you fill that void with what we are trying to fill it in the Office Athlete, with wisdom and thinking and reading and listening to good music, and be there for each other. Yeah. So great connection, you know, then, you know, in a way, yes, you will always have moments in which you experience void in your life, but you know that you can fill it with something different that is good for you and not bad for you.
Yeah, it's filling that bit with the contentment, isn't it? Which, if the rest of it's being filled with beautiful stuff, I'm sure the void is just content, and that's our resting time. So yeah, With the 6 pillars that we've based our structure on, our training. How have you got on with those? If you happy? Wherever you struggled and wherever you excelled.
Do you have another question? No, that was really good, because these are things that we know, but I think I write it on one of my posts. I try all these, but concentrating only on one, and then never understood that you really have to have a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So for me, sleeping, I really always sleep very well. And in the way, the tracking made it worse, because I got anxious about the performance. And still now, I sleep slightly worse than when I started. But maybe there are also other things. And I had insights. Food, I'm almost vegan. I was vegetarian when I started, and I'm almost vegan, so it's okay with me. And this for the past 17 years. So, and then a long time that I don't drink, and it was not a moral issue. I think that maybe in my culture, Italian, the drinking is done differently, in a way that a glass of wine is the nice complement to a nice dinner with nice friend and a stroll after.
Yes.
It's not the idea that you go out to drink. You know, the drink is the purpose. And so that's, I think maybe I was a little bit helped by the context that I had around me.
Sure.
And but also that with the time and with aging, I just couldn't stand wine and alcohol. I had problem in digesting. I would wake up at 2 at night, and I'm not talking about massive. I'm talking about 2 glasses. Mm-hmm. Over time, you know, it was too much for me. So I just had this kind of wisdom that why do I have to drink something that make me sick? So it was that. So that maybe, you know, for me, I always score 10 because that was an easy one. Connection was different. I thought I was good in connection, and then I realized no. Mm-hmm. That my tribe, my 5 or 6 people, some of them was 1 month that I was not talking to them. I mean, close friends of childhood. So that was a discover. And quiet time, you know, I have 0 quiet time in my life.
Yeah.
That was really like the missing, like, what is quiet time? So I have work to do, but I definitely improve it, and I keep on tracking them every evening.
Yeah, it's good fun, isn't it? Yeah, it's good. I've been doing it once a week. Yeah. You set your little goals into the.
Yeah, I think I will get to once a week, but yeah, connection. And also another insight was movement. I really thought I was lazy, and that was also, as we spoke, one of my limiting beliefs. And then I realized that no, it's a kind of belief that I had. But I mean, I have a huge Labrador. We walk 3 times per week. Encouraged by you and Andy, I went back on my standing bike, and I do every morning half an hour. So I'm not lazy. Maybe sport and that, you know, extreme movement is not for me, but still I do move around. So it was a kind of also be more self-aware of where I am with these 6 pillars. So it was great. Yeah.
So it sounded like the worst pillar was the one you do the best. You sleep better than everyone. So there you go.
Yeah. But now I don't.
You need to send Andy. He'll send some money back, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I'm going to have a talk to him. Yeah. And
another big part of the course has been goal setting. And again, just me personally, I didn't come in really with this great goal. And there was a point I was like, I don't really want. I think a few of us was like, no, I'm not ready to do a goal. I'm not ready, you know. But he pushed us to find a goal, even if it was a bullshit one, as he called it. How have you gone with your goals?
Well, I had too many, but that's me. That's how my mind works.
Yeah.
No? Quiet time 0, quiet time 0, goals 300. And they were all important. And so I didn't choose the goal, the dream, because I knew it would have not been possible. by the end of the 6 weeks. It looked like 6 months, but they were 6 weeks. I know it wouldn't have been possible, so I chose one that it could be possible, and I was a little bit stuck. And that was something as simple, maybe for others, as having my own website for my practice as psychotherapist, which would be not only to introduce myself to potential client, but also as a kind of blog and a kind of creative expression of myself. From time to time, write something about my thoughts and share the books that I found interesting or things like this. And basically for the past year, I've been paying a platform, one of these platforms in which you can create your own web. And I've been totally passive. And I think that the true reason, if I look in depth, is because I didn't feel that it was interesting, whatever I would say. So it was not a matter of not being able to write 3 paragraphs and not be able to structure a website. And by the way, my daughter has been fantastic. She helped me a lot in all the architecture of the website, but really not being brave enough to come out. And then I think that by the end of the course, which will be in 4 days, I will launch it. Brilliant. And another one who helped me enormously in the course was James, that at a certain point said, but Joe, look around how many people know, now they are all virologists, everybody expert in 5G, everybody expert on everything, and they just talk. And there are the chances that you know what you're talking about. Just get down and do it. Exactly. So I think that I will launch it. I will just jump. Even if it is not perfect, it will be far from being perfect. And you will be the first one to know.
Oh, that would be so good. I'm so pleased about it. And also, it's a classic imposter syndrome, isn't it? That many of us have suffered from. And I always liken it to waiting for the grown-ups to turn up, and you have to look around and you think, I am the grown-up. It's my time, So I'm glad you realised that massively.
But also being independent of what the other think, honestly. Who cares? If I like to do it and it's a meaningful employment of my time and give me satisfaction, frankly speaking, who cares about the other? And I think sometimes we tend to conform too much on what is expected from us. And this is really, really strong. And because that I like books, that there is one by Oscar Wilde, which I think is called De Profundus, something in Latin, like in depth, something. But there is a quote which is fantastic that it says something like, most people are other people, that they are so used to think in the way that other thinks, so used to do the things that other expect from them, so influenced by the judgment of others that then they don't do anything, that he says most people are other people, that basically they're not themselves. So that is interesting, huh?
It is, and having the bravery to have originality. And you're my second guest, and last week Andrew was excellent, and on his journey and what he's doing, so brave to be out there and sort of making his own drink. And honestly, Gia, I think you've got so much intelligence to share, and it's like you're not the only one on this course. I like it. I think I pay money to listen. Like that little words you said, the philosophy, the quotes. It's excellent. And this is, like I say, I'm just a builder, and I think it's brilliant. I understand it,
But by the way, we didn't agree on my fee.
No.
Say that we paid, please. We didn't agree.
It'll be, when you're up there and you're on all the chat shows everywhere, they'll go back to this first one, And then,
I think you're idealizing me a little bit. Honestly.
Well, maybe, but again, just so from my point of view, what you just said about being brave and going out there, this is what I'm doing here for me. This is going on YouTube. It's available to anyone to watch, And so my limiting belief is like, who is going to be interested? Where is the audience? What is the point? So the counter argument to me, and I'm aware I talk too much, by the way, so I need to find that's the void bit. But it is, if one person listens to it and they get something from it, that's a gain. And from my own personal style of hopefully one day doing some coaching, I just think it's really good to like, I'm listening to you, I'm educating myself. And I think that's what a coach is. It's not about what I want to say, it's about listening to others. And hopefully when they're talking, you hear yourself talking and it makes sense. I don't know whether that makes sense, but.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. For me, the basis is that you never have to think you are better than the others. You can learn from everybody, but you can also give. And if you start with that idea that, and if you try to live everything you do and everything you give, including this podcast, and that you are starting, and these videos and this conversation with us, in the idea I give something and I get something in an honest way, everything is about an encounter between two people, no?
Sure, yeah.
And you know that I'm a Jungian analyst, and Jung was said that when two people meet is like two chemicals, you know, and if there is a reaction, it means that both of them are transformed. And that's what we do in our lives, no? We keep on transforming.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then I think with maybe this conversation, we'll have a little bit of transformative power or influence on somebody who's listening. It's definitely having it on us, no?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, without a doubt. So that's why, I mean, I've got this thing called Life Connections, and I'm really encouraging everyone to have more of them. You know, even just picking up the phone to an old friend, saying hello to a stranger. You know, I walk the dog, I say hello to everyone. You know, hopefully they say hello back. That just means so much to people, isn't it? And especially in these tough times. It does. I mean, I used to take it for granted, and I try to have this. I use my journal, and each day I'm going to have intention. You know, it's a lovely word. And so, you know, recently it's about noting. You know, so I'm sort of like, I say hello to people, and I'm trying to note their expression. It's a weird thing, but I think it's just, and then all of a sudden you get hello back, and how's the weather? And it might be a very British thing. I don't know what it's like where you're living, but it's beautiful in itself, really.
I live in Geneva, in Switzerland, between France and Switzerland, and here in the small villages, people still say hello to each other, even if they are strangers, when you meet somebody, and it makes such a difference.
It does, yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're walking your dog, and of course not if you are in a crowded city, and not if you are in the center, but if you are walking in a little village, there is this expectation to be recognized and to recognize somebody, you know, as a way to pay respect.
Yeah.
You know, just like you don't matter, you know, and that changed everything, you know, to have a smile, or to give a smile, or, you know, to let somebody pass first, or, you know, an elderly, or keep the dog a little bit tighter because you see, you know, a mom with a small child coming your direction and you don't want the child to be afraid, and then say hello and see the gratitude in their eyes, and vice versa. That makes a huge difference. So I still have this privilege to live in a small village, and it makes a difference, even if I'm next to a big town. Yeah.
And going on to your love of books, you recommended a book to all of us, and I loved it. Staring at the Sun. I can't remember the name of the author, which I'm sure you can tell me in a minute. But yeah, and it was the book I needed at that time. Yeah. You know, it dealt really with death, the greatest adventure, or some call it that. But it was a little bit of a heavy read for me. But at the same time, I mean, I got it on Audible and book, and the book's got loads of highlighting in, which is what I really like, so I can keep going back to it. And I listened to it in a weekend. I absolutely loved it because it gave me the comfort that there is so many people that have talked about it. But the real curious thing is that I understand you wrote a letter to the author, and I understand that was something you waited a long time to do. So you don't need to tell us what the letter is because it was private, but why the wait?
Exactly. I mean, because sometimes you think that what you do does not matter or is not of interest to the others, or you are afraid to make a fool of yourself, or you're afraid of rejection, and which would be a confirmation that you do not matter. So, but definitely that came from Andy's course. That I really don't remember if it was when we were talking about our limiting beliefs. I think that was
it's around that time.
And then the idea that I like to write, and in Andy's course we created a little group with Jill, Sarah, and I don't remember, and another one, sorry, and Sally, of course, how could I forget about lovely Sally? So the four of us, every morning we virtually meet for 15 minutes to write, just 15 minutes. And then it came from the heart. The very first thing, maybe the first thing was a post, but the second thing, I just say, okay, what has been in my mind so long? And I just wrote this letter, which of course I thought about it, and it was there. And then I say, okay, and why I don't send it? So I went to the website, on the website of the author, there was an email. I sent it, and basically it was something like 8 hours later, but basically more or less 3-4 hours after I woke up, I assume, I received a reply. And we have a Zoom schedule. So it was just like, wow, how much, I basically put the limit, I limited myself, and even if he hadn't replied, that's the most important thing, because first I said we don't do things because of rejection, and because maybe that rejection is then lived as a confirmation. And my experience was different. My experience was that the huge satisfaction was just putting these things down, on paper, in a Word document. It was a kind of release, and a kind of, yes, this is it. That's what I think, and maybe it's wrong or whatever, but this is it. And then the further step of the courage is, because we also pump each other a little bit. Yeah, go and do it. I just click, and then you're just like, oh, clicked. So, yeah, fantastic, no?
Yeah, it's great. It's like that thing of, it's freedom, isn't it? It's over to you. I've done my bit, and that's gives you a step up straight away. But that uncomfortable action as well, it's all of a sudden, like, next time you're never going to hesitate, are you? And the letter's going to be probably even better. You're going to be, I think it's excellent. I think it's the courage, and that's Andy's course. I should imagine if we spoke to everyone that's been on this course, we've all done something that we wouldn't even really expected. And that's been the real great reward for this course, that it's gone to areas like I taught, you open doors and you look in that room, which I've always done, but now I'm looking into the corners,
Yeah. Well, I think what I will do for myself is a note of everything that I made, and I never thought I was capable to do. I'm not capable of writing a letter, but I was not able to articulate it, and I thought I was not able to send it, and then I did it. But other things, I thought I was not able to go on a standing bike and, cycle there for half an hour. Yeah. I mean, that bike has been there for 10 years, bought and never used. And then, we just listen to music, and then it's just natural, And so I want to make the list of the little things that in the end are not so little, because if you integrate them in your life, they really do change your life. I definitely wake up in a far better mood.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I mean,
definitely.
that whole,
You know?
yeah, let's do it. Yeah, what's next? Yeah.
Yeah, but not that let's do it big, but I already had my little routine, and my routine before was always to drink lemon juice, fresh lemon juice, and then walk with the dog. So not something unhealthy. But now there is something else, before I have the half an hour on the standing bike, and at the same time I listen to the music I like. And then, you walk, light breakfast, shower. It just changed everything,
Yeah.
You have the feeling that you have already accomplished something.
Sure. And what's
Yeah.
next then? What's next for Gio? Where is the long-term goal? And we've been now talking about full potential plans, 10 years. I mean, you've shown what you can do, like reinventing yourself with the psychology and the interests. So what's next?
I have to tell you that, as we said, many of the things that Andy says are wisdom, but we didn't have the technique to put them in practice. So when I was 35, I had my midlife crisis. I was so overworked. I was not a young mother, but the mother of a young child. I was totally drained, and I thought my life, was done. My life would have been like this. And so intuitively, I remember that I took an A4 paper, sheet, and I folded and say, okay, maybe my expectations are up to 70 years. So now I'm 35, I'm in the middle, and I create a kind of grid. And in that grid, I put everything, the languages that I speak, the academic titles, but also the friends, but also the losses, people close to me that I lost, the friend, and the good and the bad. And then I put, okay, I have half. What do I want to put in this other half of life? And there were many things that happened, a couple of travel in places that attracted me a lot. The idea of studying psychology, then it became true 10 years after, but the seed was planted there.
Yeah.
So for me, it speaks, you know what? I always said I would like to write a book, and then I slim it down. I would really like to write a novel in 10 years time. And I know that I can at least count on 40 people, the office athletes will buy a copy. If I put my tribe and my family, I can get to 50 copies. Maybe Andy could feature it,
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that
would be the dream.
Yeah.
But, I have lots of ideas.
Yeah.
I have a lot of ideas that I'm not going to reveal here, but after this is finished, we have a call, and I have a couple of ideas because both you and I were thinking of coaching, and I'm bubbling of things that we could do in the next months.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to that. But I think you, with what you've learned from the course, and it's going back a long way for that letter, the folding paper, which is a brilliant idea. You've shown that you can do it, and I really hope that anyone who watches this is going to sort of just see someone that's succeeding and that's got still so much more to give and to receive as well, really. So yeah, Gio, it's been excellent talking to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Gary. Bye.
Thank you.